Hello there. Good morning or afternoon or good evening whenever you are watching this video. Thank you for taking the time to watch. My name is Josh from racingtoprofit.co.uk. The purpose of this video is to rattle through a kind of introduction to the members club, to my members club. What you can get is for those of you who may be thinking of joining as well, or those of you specifically have just joined and want to know kind of what it's about, what you get, how you can attack the content, and various other things. There's two parts, and I'm going to try my best to keep them under 10 minutes each part. Part one, I'm going to talk through those things that you can see in front of you, and then part two, I'm going to head over to the blog so you can actually see what I'm seeing as I talk through the website and the members club. And try and give you some useful information, hopefully, which helps you get the best out of what could be a trial period if you've just joined. And yeah, that's the aim. So hopefully you find it useful. So yeah, with that said, I should probably begin. Those of you who have watched any previous videos will know that I don't normally wear a shirt, so that's indication that I'm taking this more seriously, and it's an important video. I mean, it is important to a point. It's designed to hopefully help you get the most out of the members club and to make an informed decision, I suppose, about whether it is for you in the long term. So part one, welcome, which I've kind of just done, and I've got a note there. These are kind of for you to look at as well as for pointers to remind myself. We don't do things too flashy in these parts, as you can see here. There's no fancy PowerPoint presentation, anything like that. Just a good old Word document with a few points on, as you can see. So the second thing I want to say is customer service. My kind of business, I suppose, and the blog and everything I do, I like to think is built on my kind of honesty, transparency, and integrity, and kind of that leads to my customer service ethos, of which I think I am one of the best in the business, but you have to prove yourself through actions with such things. I'm always available via email. You can comment on the blog. If I'm ever sent an email, if I'm ever asked a question within the comments, I do my best to answer as quickly as possible. If you ever have any questions, any concerns, if you, for example, and this has happened a few times, you make a payment when you indeed didn't enjoy the trial or you wanted to leave, which does happen every now and then, and you pay by accident, just get in touch, you get a refund, no questions asked, no bother at all. My aim is to make your experience the best it can be, and as I've often said, customer service is the one thing that I have 100% control over. Sadly, I don't have control over any of the horses which form the content of the daily posts within the members club, but I do have control over how I treat you and kind of how you engage with me and the blog content and everything else. So yeah, my aim is to make your experience the best it can be. There are always things to improve on. So you should always feel free to ask any questions, post any comments, both positive, both negative is welcome as long as they're polite, and any questions just fire away. My job is to make sure you have the best experience possible. So yeah, with that said, I don't think I need to add anything more on that front. What have I learned? This is kind of, I thought it might be interesting for you to understand what kind of influences me. I came up to Liverpool from a small town near Suffolk called Mildenhall 10 years ago in 2007 to study at the university. I wasn't into racing before. I went to Aintree to their old Rowan Chase meeting in the October and started to get a bit hooked. I proceeded to sign up to a tipping service in the first year of university and lost 2,650 quid, which was fun. I dived straight in betting £20 a point on a service which promised all sorts and had a proven track record of success. What a naive young man. And that kind of painful experience has influenced everything I've done since then. Uh, from there, I realised, I suppose, that this game is hard. There are no quick wins. My driver was a kind of quick fix, get rich quick, and I did not appreciate the sport. I did not appreciate the puzzle, and at that stage, I took no enjoyment from trying to solve it. It's taken me kind of a good 7 or 8 years to get to the point where I got to probably a couple of years ago, where I'm now kind of comfortable with the approach I have towards racing, and would like to think on kind of my personal betting and things that I'm fairly successful. With that said, I suppose I should say that I am a kind of hobbyist, not the professional punter. Obviously, I think that would be far too stressful. I bet in £2.50s, £5, £10, and occasionally 20, £25. That's the level I play at personally. That's the level I've built up to. I approach different things, different horses with different amounts, and that's something I can expand on another time. But for me, the enjoyment is coming from trying to solve the puzzle and trying to get better over time. Horse racing and betting and solving that puzzle is bloody difficult. It's hard, as you may know. Only 3%, around 3% of people who bet on horses win in the long term. My aim is to make members and myself a part of that 3%. It is mentally challenging. It's tested me pretty early on, and it still tests me to this day. You do need patience, perseverance, and discipline. That is part of the reason for the kind of extended trial period, is so that you can take the time necessary to work out if this approach is for you. I personally have a desire to improve. I'm what I kind of call a restless perfectionist, for want of a better term. I always think I can be doing things better. I always think I could be making your experience better. I always think I can be making the content better. And that is something which drives me kind of every day. I'm a believer that there is an approach for everyone. My hope is that in time you will enjoy the content of the Members Club, and it will help you get the most out of your racing, and within time become an even more profitable punter, or a profitable punter in the long run. So yeah, there is an approach for everyone. I hope it might be my Members Club, but it might not, and no worries if not. That is the point of the trial. When it comes to betting, and this goes back to that initial experience at the beginning that I had in my first year at university, do not dive in. Do not start with £20 and upwards bets. Start small, build up stakes over time, paper trade if you need. There is no rush. You have to take the time to settle on an approach that suits you, that suits your personality, that suits the time that you have to engage within the sport. And it is much more enjoyable if you start off betting small and build up over time. It makes the whole experience far more kind of relaxing. It makes you look at racing actually in a slightly different way. The worst thing you can do when betting is to think about the amount of money you're betting and potentially what you could lose. If that is ever at the front of your mind when looking at a horse or a horse race, which it certainly was for me back in the day, there is only one way the betting bank will go, and that is generally down, I found initially from personal experience. So with that said, what is the point of my club? I'm on, what am I on, 8 minutes and 40 seconds for part one. It's not a get rich quick scheme. Obviously, I know that sounds obvious. That's probably teaching you to suck eggs. But it's not. It's something which will be, which does find nice price winners. I'm pretty confident over time, if you do kind of those things which I touched on before about patience, perseverance, finding an approach that suits you, starting off betting small, taking your time, that you will do well in the long run, and you will have a very enjoyable time. It's a journey. It's a journey of discovery. It is a community. The blog and the Members Club in its current form kind of started around this time last year or a couple months before. There's a good couple of hundred members that have stayed for that duration of that time, and another 50 odd that have been with me for most of 2017. I would like to think they're happy. They're still staying, most of them, and I would like to think that is a positive indication on the kind of quality and the content and everything you get, and how it could help your racing moving forward. It is a horse-based approach, which I will kind of get into. That's something I learned myself. Sorry, the screen just went black there. We're back here. It's a horse-based approach. I learned long ago. I don't attack many races what I call cold. I'll go into the members club in a moment, but it's very much looking at a horse that qualifies against certain stats and using that as a way in, and whether or not you can simply make a case and whether or not you want to back that horse. It doesn't involve, and you do not need to, moving forward, spend hours of relentless form study looking and picking over every bet, every horse in every race that you attack. It's too time consuming. I learned a few years ago that isn't an approach that was going to suit me personally, and it just doesn't work for me. And I would like to think this approach may work for you. So if you do have any preconceptions on how to attack horse racing, on what you can, how you can attack the game, how betting should be, all those kind of different things, I ask you to kind of park those at the door and attack this members club and my approach with an open mind, and with any luck, fingers crossed, you enjoy it. It's about fun, excitement are the two key parts, as well as the community feel and atmosphere, and all of us kind of moving in the same direction. Of course, it's about profit. You can't have fun and too much excitement if you're losing stacks of cash over time. I did not enjoy losing 2,600 odd quid at a time in my life when I couldn't really afford to. Not that you can lose that amount at any time. But they're the key, and that's why starting small and building up in time is important within that. And that will ensure that if you take the time and you're patient, you will get the most enjoyment out of this sport. The approach is about starting points. There's two kind of different approaches, which I'll kind of expand on when I kind of flip over to the members club in a minute. There's systems and strategies based on the stats that I research, which are always, results are updated weekly, which we're always discussing and tinkering with. But there's some kind of off-the-shelf strategies, and for the jumps, there's kind of 3 of them, which you could decide to take a systematic approach to. So horse ticks the box against a strategy, which I'll go in soon, and you just bet. It qualifies against that strategy, end of story. The other part, and it can be a mix of 2, is my whole approach, and all of the content within the members club is designed as starting points, is designed as a way in for you to have a daily list of horses that you can flick through and add your own subjective judgment to. I'm the firm believer that the most fun and the most enjoyment you get from racing is when you think about a horse and a bet and a race and approaching something yourself, and you add in a bit of your own subjective thought, you add in a bit of that judgment. And my aim is to provide the quality research and the starting points, horses that you can have confidence in as a foundation with which to then add your own thoughts. And that can be deciding whether to back a horse or not. It could be linked to the systems and the strategies. It could be deciding whether or not you want to have more on a certain horse than you would otherwise have, and taking great enjoyment when you get that decision right. All those different things. I believe, and I cannot emphasize it enough, that the most fun you do have in this game is when you use kind of information as a starting point that helps you solve the puzzle or come to a punting and staking decision yourself. And that's why I think the club is probably as successful as it is, because it's kind of more stimulating than just someone saying, back this horse, and then you're going to back it. But that's that. And like I said, that's the point in the trial, because that approach may not be for everyone, and nor may systems and strategies and such things. But hopefully you take the time to work out whether or not it is for you or not. And the final thing I will say is personal development, which I'm a big believer in kind of becoming your own expert. I am a much better punter than I was a year ago. I'm certainly a much better punter than I was 5 years ago. And I know from numerous comments within the members club and emails I receive that not only what I do in terms of the regular videos I record about the notes and the things that I talk about on a daily basis about how I approach racing and how I think about the game, but also from the many comments from very shrewd members who post within the members club and on the free posts, that there are plenty of people who are much better at betting than they were before they found the blog, and I take great enjoyment from that. If you want to improve and get better as a racing punter, I hope that you will enjoy your time in the club, and that with any luck, me and many other loyal members can help you do just that. So I wanted that first part one to be 10 minutes. I've just ticked round to 15. I hope you found that part one interesting. I'm going to pause. You can, you can pause now if you want and go and make a cup of tea or something, and we'll come back to part two, which I will go on to in a second. And we're back. I just thought I would pause there. Yes, part two. What do you need to know? What do you get each day? How should you approach the content? So all that stuff that I discussed in part one is kind of the foundation. And I will hopefully, this one will be another 10-15 minutes as well. I hope you found that first part of some use. So here we are on the blog, we are on the home page. This is what you get to if you go to racingtoprofit.co.uk. You can log in to the right hand side there. Hold on, let me just make sure I've got the right password in here, and you can log in. Now, you normally, I think when you first log in, may see this exclusive reports that just list the members' posts. If you click home in the top left hand corner, you get all the posts in one kind of place. Hopefully you can, the members club posts are clear. You've got this gold bar down the left hand side, members club there. You get a members post every single day without fail. As yet there hasn't been a failure to post on a day. And yes, to the right hand side, I'm just going to go through some nuts and bolts really, I suppose, before getting into the nitty gritty. There's a kind of my account thing. I should stress that the username and password when you get in stays live for as long as you want. Even if you unsubscribe, you can always log into the members area. Clearly, if you have an expired membership, you won't be able to read the actual members content and you'll be redirected to kind of renew subscription. But if you want to take a break or do whatever, you can always renew subscription and sign up to whatever plan is in place at the time. There's various other different things there as well. The members posts, let's click on one and explain it the best I can. What I should say is I try and get the section 1 content, which I'll explain in a minute. I try and post that the evening before racing, and most of the time Monday to Friday that is the case, or certainly Tuesday to Friday. Saturdays I try and get up Friday evening. Again, most of the time that happens. Sunday's post can be on Sunday morning because the weekend can sometimes get in the way, and likewise Monday's post can be early Monday morning. I have a 10 AM cutoff for all members club content on weekdays and 11 AM at weekends. I use a various different codes in the top here on the blog post. When you see complete in brackets, that means the post is complete. Throughout the day, you might see an update 1, update 2 from the early evening all the way through. But you'll know when the kind of core content is posted and various different things. And likewise, yeah, that's what I'm saying on that front. Now, what I want to talk about is what forms of content and kind of how you can approach it. The key is where I want to focus, and this is your friend. Within each daily post, when I remember, you get this key, and I would advise you all to kind of take your time to indulge yourself in the various different things, which I'll explain in a minute. There are, and I'm going to jump straight to the bottom, the main stats guides, which are used for the section 1 qualifiers, which I will get onto. You will have access to all of these, including during the trial period. Like I said, the key is your friend. The summer stats, which are for the flat, that's a kind of 80-odd page PDF or whatever it is, and the jumps, which I'm about to update. As I speak to you, it's the 26th of September. I have nearly completed the refreshed and new winter jumps guide for 2017-18, and that link will be up there pretty soon before the start of October, with any luck. So yes, section 1 is the main part. So you will see each blog post is split into 4 sections. All qualifiers against the stats pack and rating pointers. Any notes, which includes bet of the day and plus other notes which I'll explain. Microsystem test zones for different things that I am researching that you have access to and that we can follow. And any general messages and updates I just like to keep you on track on different things or what may be happening. So against these stats packs, which are unique, you can take your time to flick through those and have a look at the profile that I use for every single track in the UK turf. And I'll just focus on jumps, given we are near the beginning of the main jump season. You can flick through and have a look. We are mainly focused on handicaps. That is the focus. And you can look at the research of those jump stats packs. And section 1 is simply the qualifiers against those stats. Now, those stats are trainer-based stats. They are nothing to do with a horse. They simply look at a trainer's record in certain race types and certain micro angles at a certain track over the last 3 years. And that is our starting point for the content and the main content in section 1. So you get those. And what I should say is, against the horses, you get a little code. I've just noticed this is live, you see. I've missed off the 2 codes next to those 2 horses there. So ignore that. You know, these little things happen every now and then. They're not too relevant. They're only important. They just refer to the part of the stats pack and the part of the profile that the horse qualifies against. So that is just if you want to look at the horse and you actually want to look at the strength of stats that the horse qualifies against, you can simply then refer to the stats guide. You'll obviously know the horse, you'll have a look at the race card, you'll see who the trainer is, and by using that little code, which makes sense when you look at the stats pack, you can cross-reference if you want. You will then notice various other things, including these red ratings pointers, which are important. So the idea here is to make the selections more sophisticated and to give you more information in which to make a punting decision. Now, you can look at these here and hopefully they make sense. There's a H1, H3, which looks at horse race based top rated, that's a H1, and a horse race based top 3 rated, that's a H3. In effect, that is the 2nd and 3rd rated horse. The same with GG's Gold, which are speed ratings that they license from a Dr. Peter May, and Inform Racing, their speed ratings again. And these 2 sets of speed ratings are calculated in very different ways. And they all help add to the pot. I should add, for anyone who may be interested, that the 3 owners and people behind Horse Race Base, GG's Gold and Dr. Peter May, and Mr. Inform Speed Ratings have all given me permission to use those said codes against the horses in this particular way. There's GG's Gold trainer form indicators. I mean, again, you can read what they mean, but they just help give you an indication whether the trainer is in particularly red hot form based on those indicators there. There is also the elite squad. Now, this is what I'll explain. This is a certain set of kind of elite criteria that I applied to the main stats packs, and that will make more sense if you open the stats and you have a look through them. Some of the stats and some of the numbers they're built on are much stronger than others, and the elite squad, if you click on that report, which just has the flat runners in, the flat angles, but it does importantly have the criteria for the elite squad, which I applied to all of the stats packs. They are a certain set of criteria to try and home in on the best and most reliable trainer stats, and again, we follow those, well, you can follow those as a starting point or as a system. So each day you get those list of horses against my initial stats pack, which are based on trainer behavior. You then get these codes next to the horse, which are ratings which look at the horse in the context of their race. So we've got that kind of twin approach of solid trainer stats based on their behavior, which we hope will repeat over time, and we've got high-end ratings pointers which add some sophistication and detail to the form of the horse and the ability of the horse. Now, using these ratings pointers next to the horse and the elite squad, the purple ES, and indeed the price, and that's something I'll mention while I'm looking at this, each morning I take a general look at the markets around 8 a.m. And I put up a widely available price next to the horse's name, as you can see here, and that price is a guide for some of the strategies which you can look at within the key. Now, using that starting point, it is more simple than I may be making it sound, but hopefully you're still with me. So you've got that list of horses as your daily starting point. Now, this is where the systematic approach comes in. You can decide, if you wish, to follow what we have here: advised flat strategies and advised jump strategies. I'm going to record a separate video, I think, where I go into those, so I don't want this to be overly long. But again, I encourage you to look at the key and to look at those strategies. But having said that, I am going to just click on the jumps. There are 3 for the jumps, which are based on the GGs, those that are top rated or top 3 rated, that are 10 to 1 or bigger in the morning. So that have the price next to their horse, maybe 10 to 1 or bigger. This strongly suggests that you can see here doesn't have a G1, it doesn't have a G3, so it doesn't qualify on that. But if they're 10 to 1 or bigger on that price next to the horse, or at a time that you look in the evening, if that's when you can look, because these things all even themselves out, but that's the time that I base results on. So this one is if they're 10 to 1 or bigger in the morning, or if they're shorter in the morning, if their Betfair starting price is 11 or bigger. And you can set that price as a minimum at a time that suits you for the shorter price one. So if the horse drifts and its Betfair SP is 11 or bigger, you can, the bet will place automatically. There's a little box you can tick in the right hand corner in placing a bet at Betfair SP, and you can set a minimum odds starting price. You will see 2017, when these were introduced at the start of the year to the end of April, they made 99 points to Betfair starting price. That is if they're from 1 point bets. Everything I measure is in 1 point level stakes bets. Something has to work to level stakes bets. Otherwise, for me, it's questionable and dubious whether or not it works in the long term. That's what I judge things on. That doesn't mean you can think of your own approach and your own way to attack the content, but that's how I like to record things. I update these strategies every week. So this one, as you can see, was updated at the weekend, the Sunday, the 24th of September 2017. Now in total, since these speed ratings had the summer off, the GG speed ratings, they came back at the start of September. They've since added another, well, 28, 29 points to Betfair starting price. This is after commissions taken into account. Or plus 101 points at Early and Bog, 81 bets, 14 wins. They should continue to be profitable in the long run because of the logic, because the GGs, the theory behind the GG speed ratings from Dr. Peter May won't change, and touchwood, neither will the quality of my stats research. So with any luck, over time they develop, but again, they will have losing runs like everything, and all these things are reasons why you should start off small, even paper trading or betting £2, and just build up over time. So that's strategy 1, which you can approach and use against the content. Strategy 2 is more simple, and it's simply based on the price of the horse, based on morning prices if they're between 10 to 1 and 25 to 1 inclusive, on the price next to the horse for the jumps, as you can see here, jump stats. If they're 10 to 1 to 25 to 1 inclusive, which strongly suggested is, they can become a bet. These have been rather profitable. As you can see, like I said, you can take your time to look through the key and look through these different things. And these strategies in total in 2017, pretty much a 10% win strike rate, and plus 250 to Early and Bog. I need to update the profit for Betfair starting price, which is a bit below that, but it's still very, very healthy. So that's another approach you can take. You can read through the notes there. I personally don't back those systematically. I use them as a starting point and as a guide. Generally, that is where most of the profit comes from the stats. Backing short the price horses generally pays for itself or loses over time if you backed all of them. Clearly, there is the other exception. But yeah, that's a good starting point as a way in if you want to narrow down a list of horses even more, knowing that all those on the jump stats between 10 to 1 and 25 to 1 on morning prices have a 10% strike rate. And because clearly at the odds that they're sent off at, that means that they should be profitable, continuing moving forward. But that's another strategy you can take. You might decide that you want to start betting those kind of £1 and £2, or £2 of Betfair starting price, say. And again, building up over time if you wish. And with any luck, that is exactly what your bank will do. But like I said, you can look at those notes. They will hit, because it's a 10% strike rate. They will hit hefty losing runs of 20, 30, 40, occasionally maybe even 50. And that is why, with any approach with that kind of winning strike rate, you really do have to start small and build up over time. The third one is the Elite Squad, which I introduced in June when I thought, and I'm always thinking of ways that I can try and make the content better for you. And that again is just based on the trainer stats pack and looking at those at the best angles based on the criteria, which if you click that Elite Squad link in the key, you can see those criteria and why a horse will qualify. Again, that's a trainer stats way, and you might want to use the Elite Squad as a starting point. Again, you can see the results there since their inception in 2017 to date. A solid kind of 29 points to Early Bob, which is decent enough. And then I look at different things I'm monitoring, horses that were treble rated. I hope you're still with me. So treble rated is one rating from each of the rating sets, which Kirkman is, but he is not a jump source. Obviously, he's a flat qualifier. Treble rated have done very well on the flat. So I've decided to start monitoring treble rated over jumps, and within the weeks and months ahead, the data may build up, and that may become something else, another strategy that you may want to apply, and that then I advise applying to the content if you so wish. So I hope that makes sense. Like I said, within the key, there are advised strategies that you can take, systematic strategies, and if a horse qualifies, you can back them. Take your time to read through those things to get your head around what approach you may want to take. You can use them as starting points if you want, and you might just look at horses with certain rating points or horses that qualify against those strategies, and then from there use that daily list to work out if you just want to back 1 or 2 horses a day, or you back them systematically, or you may ignore them and just use the information within your own subjective view of looking at a horse, looking at it in the context of the race, and whether or not you can make a case for it. So that's that. That is the core. I think I've covered everything. That is what you get in section 1. The strategies have done very well. These qualifiers, all of them, find numerous decent price winners daily and over time. And the aim clearly is for us to back as many of those as possible while keeping the losers down and backing as fewer losers as possible. But ultimately, it's a game of excitement, of enjoyment, of cheering home 12 to 1, 6 to 1, 8 to 1 winners, and ultimately your betting bank going in one direction over time, which, touch wood, it will do. So that's that. Like I said, there's the key. You can immerse yourself in those different little things. Next is section 2. Now, these are my own subjective notes. I've been trialing a kind of bet of the day, which I'll get the results up for. That is still in the test zone. To be honest, I've done better at highlighting notes and highlighting those horses which look most interesting to me. They're subjective views, but you get to read my thinking. Occasionally, I add videos in this section where I will go through the horses above, like I'm doing now, kind of with a kind of screenshot video. And again, look at the horse, look at the race, and make a judgment so you can see how I think about certain horses. I don't get it right all the time. Something else I want to stress is, and this is pretty hard to get your head around initially, is you will miss winners. There are decent price winners from this content in section 1 that I don't back, but I can live with that because my betting bank has steadily been going in a certain direction over time from the content within my blog posts, within these members posts. With any luck, plenty of other members is going in that direction as well. But that is important. You will miss winners. You don't need to beat yourself up about missing winners. You have just got to be happy with your own progress and your own progress of your bank over time. My job, clearly, through talking as I am today and through all the different notes and different things, is to make that more likely than not. So yeah, you get notes where I look at the horses above. I use these as my starting point. These are my own personal starting point for my bets each day. And you get to read any notes, and you can take issue with them. You can agree with them. You can disagree with them, whatever. But you at least can read there why I like certain horses, and hopefully you at least, if anything, find it an interesting read. Or indeed a watch if I've put the odd video in there. So yeah, you get notes. That's where I put different horses. Occasionally I might pick out one as the kind of what I class as bet of the day, if there is one which really kind of strikes me, and kind of guide you in that direction. As I talked to you, I went back to the start of September and had a count up of all those horses since the 1st of September that I'd positively mentioned within the notes section using section 1 and those list of horses as a starting point. And they are on about 40 points to 1 point win bets. So if you'd have put a fiver on each horse that I mentioned positively in the notes, you'd be a kind of 200 quid better off this month, which I may have done, which is good fun. But that's just an example of how you can obviously use this section to form your own notes and your own opinions on the different horses on what to back, and that is where I would like to think most of the enjoyment comes from. So yeah, you get notes. You get the microsystem test zone. Now, this generally stems from, I write every month a 2,000 word article for the Betting Insiders Club. They kindly let me share that research with you. So you can see in the test zone here, there are various different stats reports. I'm generally based on behaviour and trainer behaviour. The odd bit of jockeys there, but there's some research there on Nigel Twiston-Davies in September and October, which you can click the link and read if you wish. And I will be posting those qualifiers against my stats there on a daily basis again. So that's more information for you to ignore, to decipher, to use, do whatever you please with. It's in a test zone for a reason. And with any luck, that kind of finds profit. Then there's a kind of any general messages and updates. Well, I should just say before I move on to that, I'm always looking at researching different things and adding to things and seeing if we can come up with new ideas and things that we can track. If they appear in the test zone, it means the qualifiers will appear within the test zone here when they do appear. Then there's any general messages and updates. Every week I update on a kind of, well, by the Tuesday morning, the results and the advice strategy links within the key, so you can keep on top and we can see what's doing well, kind of, and how things are going, and various other things there. Today, for example, there's a note on the horse called Blessed to Impress, who I own 2.5% of, and various different things. Now, what else do you get? Now, this is quite important. So that's the core. That is the core of your daily offering. I'm conscious this video is now 36 minutes in length, but I can't really cover anything any quicker, I don't think. I'm trying to be as quick as I can, but you need to cover the important points with these things. So yes, that's all qualifiers in section 1. What else do you get over the jump season? So we have a lot of big meeting notes, and particularly for the flat. But I will add and do research for certain big meetings through the year. We did Ascot, Epsom, Chester's May meeting, all kind of different things that are trainer-based stats, trying to find a few trainers that we may want to focus on. Again, that is just about researching unique and quality information for you to use as you please. When I research such notes, you'll get links within the key, and I'll update and I'll add messages within the any messages and update section, and then I will add qualifiers or notes against those stats within this section, so you will see that kind of in the weeks and months ahead. The other thing to add is, on top of all of that, you'll get full coverage for the spring festivals, full coverage of Cheltenham, which generally involves a stats and trends pack for the 10 handicaps and about 4 other races. I kind of tip in all of those. Last year we won about 43 points at Cheltenham, and part of that week package included the national from Uttoxeter, and we also found the 2025 to 1 winner of that, Chaser Spud, so that was a good week. So you get Cheltenham, you'll get some stats and trends and tips for Aintree, and previews and ideas and videos and everything else. Punchestown, through the summer, Galway, you name it. If there's a big meeting, there'll be reports, trends, stats, the odd trainer report, different things. My aim generally is to research unique and quality information to help us all enjoy our racing much more, to provide us with starting points or ways in, or decent priced horses generally that we can attack and that we can bet, with the aim of making some long-term profit. The final thing I should add, as the jump season kind of ticks over and carries on, I will be looking at big race trends and stats for handicap hurdles exclusively just within the members posts. They're generally kind of 16 runners plus. There's generally some decent trends and stats. We started dabbling with that at the back end of last jump season and had a bit of fun, found a couple of nice price winners, a couple of nice price places. So I am going to do my best to highlight as many of them as I can to provide shortlists, and again, something for you to attack a big Saturday race with, or mainly on Saturdays or big festival days. So that is pretty much it for the content. There's always plenty going on. That is deliberate. I like to give you choice. If you don't want choice and you want to focus on certain things, that is the point of the advised systems and strategies. If you want to develop your own punting, own thinking, again, you've got a list of horses there which qualify, excuse me, which qualify against decent trainer research. Excuse me. So I'm back. I was just having a coughing fit then. So yeah, you've got this list of horses that qualify against my unique trainer research, so you can have confidence in. Um, what I should say is, which I haven't stressed yet, do not back every horse in section one. That isn't the point. If you'd have done that on the flat, you wouldn't have done too well. The jump stats are generally better if you just backed every horse. They have been profitable so far this year, but they have been reliant to make them profitable on a couple of monster price winners in the kind of 40, 50, 60 to 1 zone. So the idea is to provide us all with a list of quality research and starting points, and then to add these ratings pointers and these various different things, and then to apply your own subjective judgment if you want to the horse. So it's about choice, it's about development, it's about fun, it's about engagement, and all kind of going on a journey with any luck of discovery and excitement. And I am pleased, hopefully you're watching this because you've signed up to a trial, and hopefully I do my job properly so you can make an informed decision over the coming weeks and months about whether or not this is an approach that you can see helping your racing. And if you haven't, if you're watching this and you haven't joined, then you can clearly sign up for an extended trial period and come and join the fun and games. But there's plenty going on in the coming kind of next 3 or 4 months. You will definitely know whether or not this is something which works for you. And with any luck, if I do my job properly, you will join the other kind of 250 subscribers that have been with me for at least 9 months, and quite a chunk of those have been with me for 12 months or more. So yeah, I think that's it for this one. There's various different, like I said, I do post different videos. I do take requests from members. If you're going racing and you want me to have a quick flick through a card, I'm happy to do that if you give me a few days notice and time allowing. Like I said, I am here to make your experience of racing the best it can be. I like to think, I like to develop myself. I like to try and make everyone, maybe you, think through how I write and how I do things. And if we can all get better over time, if our betting banks can all increase over time, then we are doing the right thing. And if we can have some fun and excitement and back some nice price winners along the way, then you know we should have a very good time. That's the aim of things. So I will finish there. You will see below many posts. There's always a few comments and different discussion points. Many readers put up their different tips and suggestions. They'll comment on my own notes. They'll comment on horses that they like within section one. They'll comment on horses not even mentioned that they've just picked out themselves through their racing. So it's all about engagement. It's all about hopefully one big happy punting family going on a journey which is enjoyable and profitable over time. But I think I have probably spoken for long enough. But with any luck, that gives you a firm idea of the approach and gives you a firm idea of how we do things over at Racing to Profit and how I do things in my members club. I hope that if you have joined and you are engaged in the trial, that you take your time, be patient, try and get the best out of it, have an open mind, and with any luck over the coming weeks and months, well, you will convince yourself that this is something that will aid your betting moving forwards. But with that said, if it's not for you, no worries. I take no grudges. I know this approach isn't for everyone, but fingers crossed, you will think that it is a valuable addition to your experience of this great sport. And with that said, I am going to say over and out. And this is Josh saying bye for now. I'll be in touch at some point. I'm always available, as I said, and I will keep posting various different videos in the days, weeks, and months ahead. But thanks for watching. I do hope you found that of some use. And this is Josh saying bye for now. I should add, if you've got any questions, comments, post them below, like I said, or email me. I am here to make your experience the best that it can be, and I try my best every day to do just that. So yeah, this is Josh saying bye for now and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for watching.